All right, so welcome to another deep dive. Today we're really getting into it. Truth, faith, you know how it is. Everyone's got an opinion, a different way of seeing things.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got these three sources.
Yeah.
One is titled, God is not the author of confusion.
Okay.
Kind of makes you think.
Right.
And then we have God as the author of life and finisher of our faith.
Right.
And to wrap it all up, we've got a piece on lies. No sugarcoating there.
Yeah, that's pretty direct.
So I have a feeling these sources are going to take us in some pretty different directions.
Definitely. Lots to unpack there. It's interesting right off the bat how these sources really grapple with, like, the whole idea of certainty. You know, like that first one, God is not the author of confusion.
Right.
It's like a huge statement right out of the gate, you know, about God, the world, like the whole shebang.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's almost like if things are confusing, maybe we're missing something about God's role.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, totally. Like, it makes you think, where does all this confusion come from? How are we, like, as people, supposed to deal with a world that doesn't always feel, you know, like divinely ordered and neat?
It's true.
Yeah.
Then we switch gears, right? And we've got God as the author of life and finisher of our faith. And it's a whole different vibe, right? It's all about what it feels like to have faith and how that shapes your life.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really separates those dead religions, as it calls them, from, like, actually living your life by faith. What I find interesting is how it defines that life of faith. It's not just rituals or dogma. It's about, like, really seeking out those positive things: love, joy, hope, peace, all of that.
You're right. And it emphasizes getting good advice, but from people who have lived a life of faith.
Yeah.
You know, they've been there.
Right.
Which makes me wonder, like, what even is a dead religion? Is it all about blind faith? Or is it like lacking that personal connection this excerpt is talking about?
That's a good question. I think maybe dead religion is talking about, like, faith that's gone stale. You know what I mean? It's disconnected from what people are actually experiencing. It makes you think, should religion change and adapt with the people who follow it? Or should it stay the same, you know, rooted in tradition?
Interesting. It feels like there's a tension, right? Like, on one hand, we've got this need for things to be clear, no confusion from that first source.
Right.
But then we've got this emphasis on personal experience with all its ups and downs.
Yeah, it's like, can we have both?
Right. Can we have the certainty and the uncertainty? How does that even work?
Lots of people struggle with that. Maybe it's not about finding the one absolute truth. Maybe it's more about, like, recognizing that both are valid, you know? Personal experiences matter, but so does a bigger framework of belief.
I get it. Then we get to this piece on lies, and it's like, bam, in your face. Lies are never okay. No room for debate there. It connects living a good life directly to following God's plan, no detours.
It's pretty hardcore. It's like this source is saying you have to be in line with that divine plan. If you stray, you're basically living a lie. It's all about submitting to God's will, even when things are tough.
Yeah, it lays out a very specific path.
Yeah.
Prayer, aligning your will with God's, seeing struggles as a way to become, you know, a better vessel for God.
Totally.
It's so different from that focus on personal experience in the second excerpt.
It makes you think, what if what you experience clashes with that divine plan, you know? Like, which one do you pick? Do you go with what you understand, or do you submit to something bigger?
Tough choices, man. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
As you're listening to all of this, think about it. How do these ideas about truth, faith, guidance, how do they fit with your own life? Have you ever felt that pull between figuring things out on your own and trusting a path that's already laid out?
I feel like we're always getting hit with different opinions, advice, all of that.
Yeah.
Maybe the point isn't to find one perfect answer.
Yeah.
Maybe it's more about learning how to navigate all this complexity, figuring out what speaks to you personally.
You know, we started with a world without confusion, then went through the ups and downs of faith, and ended up with this, like, no-nonsense stance against lying. It's wild how each source takes on these huge questions in such a different way.
You know, thinking about how life is about shaping ourselves into vessels makes you wonder, what are those forces, you know, that shape us? Are we being guided by something divine? Or do we have a say in how we turn out?
That's a great question to think about. I hope this deep dive has given you something to chew on as you keep exploring these ideas.
Yeah, me too. There's always more to discover.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.